Hey guys, this is Ed with another expedition. Here we are on the Spider Gates run. I'm on Manville Street in Leicester, Massachusetts. Behind me is a yellow gate that leads to Quaker Cemetery. Quaker Cemetery is it's an old cemetery, but they still use it to this day. When we get in there, I'll show you the different timelines of the stones. So right here we have the yellow gate, I suppose, of Spider Gates. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. It's a short walk into the woods off the road. A fairly wide trail. Actually, we're very close to Worcester Airport. And when they built the airport, they had to kind of clear out the village of Manville in Leicester. And of course, Manville had roads, and this is the remains of one of those roads. They cleared out mostly all the houses, I guess. I'm not sure around what time frame or how many houses were around here, but at any rate, one thing that remained was Quaker Cemetery. Now, the reason it gets its nickname Spider Gates is because of the iron gates at the entrance, and of course we'll get to that. Basically, we are in, a lot of woods here, and it's pretty much watershed property. There are reservoirs in the immediate vicinity that service the Worcester area. So it's kind of protected. You've got no trespassing signs, stuff like this. But it's perfectly legal for me to come here. The cemetery is open like any other cemetery. The only thing is, it's got a reputation of being haunted and whatever, so sometimes you got kids up here drinking. And occasionally, they have a sign up there that says, hey, pay your respects, but don't mess with stuff. So there's various legends about this place. One of the primary legends is the amount of gates there are and what happens when you pass the last gate. There's varying stories about the number of gates that are supposedly here. 3, 7, 9. There's also other amounts. Personally, I'm an adherent of the 3-gate theory. Those that believe there are more gates, 7 and 9, what they're doing is they're counting that yellow gate behind me as a gate. And of course, there's tons of those gates because what they're doing is they're blocking off these old roads. But in terms of legend and stuff like that, you can't count Department of Public Works yellow gates. Come on, that's not right. So basically, I do the 3-gate theory. Of course, the first set of gates are the wrought iron gates that we're going to see. The second and third gates also have kind of a legend to them, I suppose, which I'll get to in a second. Right now we're coming on our first feature, though. It's a very short trail. Basically, we're more than halfway to the cemetery itself. It's a very short walk off of Manville Street. So roughly about 2/3 of the way down on this walk, we're going to come to a stream. And this stream basically flows north-south. That's north. And of course, we'll take her around, and that's south. And it flows, actually, there are reservoirs, I think there are 4 Kettlebrook reservoirs. And this stream connects reservoirs 2 and 3, I think. I'm not sure. But onward we go. So the second gate, the first gate is, of course, the wrought iron gates that we're going to see. The second gate, supposedly, and this was word of mouth back in the day, guarded by a sacred cow. I don't even know what the gates were supposed to look like. So me and my buddies a long time ago, we went here at night searching for the second gate by basically walking straight through the cemetery. And we're walking in the woods for a little while, and we see these 2 red eyes in the woods with a flashlight coming toward us. And in the middle of the woods, it was a cow. It was unbelievable. We were actually looking for a sacred cow. There's actually 2 cows. We found the cows, but no gate. And of course, if you go through the third gate, you're not, you know, it's the gate to hell, you're not coming back, stuff like that. So 7 and 9 gate theory is similar. All the legends start with gate 1 being what you're going to see, and then innumerable gates, you pass the last one, and that's it for you. Not coming back. And supposedly there's a hanging tree, they call it a hanging tree around here, where supposedly somebody hung themselves in the 60s or something like that. I don't know how true that is. Basically, actually there it is. Okay, so we're going to show you that too. We are just about here. This is what it looks like on approach. You see the stone wall. Over on the right is the gates themselves. Actually, I'm going to switch the angle here. The trail, or the road I should say, continues on to, I think, Marshall Street? I'm not sure, but it's directly bordering Worcester Airport. As the crow flies, we're less than a quarter mile, excuse me, from the runway. So, behold, Spider Gates. Elliott Cemetery, Quaker Cemetery are the official names. I think Quaker Cemetery is on the map. Friends Cemetery, I guess that sign says. So these are the iron gates here. Now, one of them, I think they were made in the 1930s or maybe earlier. I'm not sure. One of them is original. The other one is a reproduction. And it's very hard to tell the difference. I think the one on the right is the reproduction, but don't quote me on it. And actually, this is like a third gate here. I don't know if you can even open that. But, okay. Active private cemetery, closed during darkness, stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's take you guys in. All right. Now basically it's just a circular cemetery. Oh, the hanging tree supposedly is this guy right here, and we'll get you in a nice position to see that. All right. So you've got that little, I don't know. I mean, it's not, I think that's a little bit too high for you to hang yourself on, but I don't know. That's supposedly the hanging tree. So the oldest stone is 1740, and that is this one right here. Somebody named John Potter. Actually, his birth year is obscured. So 1740. We've got 1748. Lots of the last names here. Lots of Earls and Southwicks. And the most recent stone is actually 2010. So right here is the high point of the cemetery. I think some people call it the altar. Supposedly people do devil worshiping in here. There's a grain of truth to that. Somewhere in the cemetery is buried the originator of a fraternity at WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and the frat members once a year, I'm not sure when, but they come in here at midnight with robes and do a little ceremony or something like that. I don't know if it's Skull and Bones or one of those fraternities. I'm not sure. So here we have 1948, 1760, 1834, 1875, and right over here is brand new, like 2010, right there. Cemetery in the middle of the woods. What we did back in the day, this is basically the rear exit out of the cemetery, and we'll fly. You go straight through, there's more woods, and that's where we tried to find the second gate. Basically, couldn't find it, but a pretty cool area. You know, it's peaceful, atmospheric. Not much to it. You know, it doesn't take you a whole day to explore. Short distance off the road. Some people have trouble finding it, but my friends and I never had trouble finding this place. I mean, Spider Gates, you know. We knew where this was. All right, I guess, well, that's it, really. Thanks, guys, for another expedition. Actually, let me walk back, and while I'm doing that, I'll give you a nice view of where I'm at. That was Spider Gates, expedition number 2, I guess. Feel free to subscribe, and I will take you on more expeditions.